This is Irontrader. This is the last call of the day. So take a look here at Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas. And it looks like Twitter on Tuesday is playing out very, very nicely today. Okay, at the end of the video, the support and resistance levels are posted for crude and natural gas. This video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation by selling stock, commodity ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. All right, here we have Bitcoin all stretched out daily in your weekly chart. Now you can see here how its downtrend is still very, very much intact, but big but here, we have a really nice good green candle. Now we put this bottoming tail in here, so like we put the bottoming tail there, then it ran up nicely. So let's just see if it can run up at least to that 21 SMA. Now this morning it was pinned below this 8-day. Now the 8-day was going on down. It looks like that 8-day now is kind of like flattening out, but again, one day does not make a market, okay? So on the upside here, what we're looking for is today's high was 92,655. We're looking for the top of this candle right here, 93,590, and then here's the big boy right here at 95,568. You have to get and close back above that level, and then what we can do is we can attack this candle right here. Looking at 96,145 level, look to the bottom there. You're looking at 97,905 level. We'll come to the bottom of this candle here at 99,250 level. Then we just marches right on up here, 104.95 a level there. And we'll come to the bottom of this candle here. You're looking at 102.610, 610. And then we look at that 200-day. That's going to be very, very key. 103.735. Okay, very, very nicely. Okay, so right now here, that's only if we get above that 21-day, then we'll look to this area here for your resistance levels and possibly even up to that 200-day. Okay, but right now here, really what you're really focusing on is the top of this candle here. Okay, 93,590 level, and that 21-day at 95,569. Very, very key. We get above that, then you have that big target of that 200-day, which is very, very nicely. We have that 50-day here, and we have that 100-day, but they're also very, very downtrending. So watch this 8-day. Going to be very, very key. Now, here on the downside here, we want to watch here, top of yesterday's candle. That's always key. 91,660. There's your support level. This is your next support level here at 9,500. And then we have that 8-day at 88,697. We lose that, we're going to come down here to today's low, looking at 86,500 level. Then we come down to the bottom of this candle here, looking at 85,200, and then yesterday's low at 84,120, and then we have that retest down there at 87,50 level. Okay, but right now here, just watch that 8-day on the downside, the 21-day on the upside here on the daily chart. Now let's take a look at the weekly. See how the weekly here is still very, very much intact. See, we have a low, a higher low, and a higher low situation, okay? But again, you're going to run into some very, very strong resistance. See this 8-day, 99,580, 583 level? That just crossed the 21-day. That just crossed that 50-day, okay? So that's going to be very, very strong resistance, so you want to watch that level. If we happen to get above it, then you have that 102 level. Then we come up here, we have that 109 level. Then we can resume back into the old towards that 127. But right now, we still have a good uptrending chart situation. So just very, very, very careful. Just watch that key 8-day. Now, on the downside on a weekly basis is at 87.50. That's key. If we lose that, we're going to come right to the bottom of this candle here, 74,635. Okay, so that will be your target there on a weekly basis, kind of situation. But right now, we just have this sideways consolidation. Everybody's against the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin's going here, and Bitcoin's going down to 64. The big thing. It very, very might be. But in the meantime, trade this thing. Okay, like what I'm doing here, BITX for the long. I'm up 15% today just on that BITX. Okay, if you want to do the short ski, BITI, very, very easily, okay? So don't worry about all these talking heads and all this kind of stuff. I listened to a couple of guys here on the, on the channels here, and, I was on YouTube, I was listening to that, and everybody's so negative on the Bitcoin, negative on Bitcoin. Let me tell you something. We get above this 21-day, you can reverse that downtrend, and this is going to rip higher, and it's going to rip up pretty damn fast, kind of a situation. Again, now, again, if it loses that 8-day and we lose that 870, 50 level, then yes, then we can go right down here to the 74,635. But in the meantime, don't have no opinion. Just trade this long and short, man. Yesterday was a great short. Today was a great long situation, okay? So always just trade it. Stop listening to those talking heads, okay? And just trade the charts. That's how you make money. Okay, let's take a look here now at Ethereum. All right, here we have Ethereum, okay, your daily and your weekly chart. Now you can see the same thing here as we're doing with the same thing with the Bitcoin, okay? We had that low. Now I don't trade this, I trade Bitcoin, okay? But again, a lot of people do trade this. So that's why I posted. Okay, so bottom line here, we had that low. Today we put in a higher low. We have an inside day here on this candle here versus where Bitcoin is. It's looks like a little bit better chart, but again, this is still also curling up here very nicely. Now, the key to this chart is right here. It's going to be this 200 SMA. Okay, that 3,075 level. You can see here how it went into it, couldn't get up into it, popped above it, closed below it, closed below it. That's going to be very, very strong. So this is what you're watching on the upside at 3,075. That's going to be very, very key. We get above that, it's going to be right here. It's going to be 3163. That's going to be very, very key. Now, again, we can also venture on here if we get above that 3226 level. We come up here. You got 3270 level. We come to the bottom there. You're looking at 3376 level there. We come over top of this candle here, looking at 3485, and then we just venture right on up here, 3571, and then we'd be realistically looking for that 3723. But you got to give above that 21 day in order to do that. Right now, we still have this downtrending situation, the same way we have in Bitcoin. The key is going to be getting above this 21 day because you can see how strong it is on the downside here. Okay, but first of all, you got to get above that 200 day 3075. Now on the downside, watch that 2934. That's going to be very, very key. Okay, on a closing basis. Again, if we start losing that 8 day, we can come down and retest that yesterday's low, 27.28, and then here's your retest at 26.27 level. We lose that, we're going to come right down here to this 200 day at that 24.59. Now you can see here on the weekly basis, it's working like a circus monkey. It's going back and forth, but look at this big bottoming tail situation. But look how strong that 100 day is. There's that 30.75. Okay, and then right above it we have that 50 day at 30.93. Okay, so this is going to be very, very strong resistance on a weekly chart. We get above it, then we can come up here to that 8 day at 34.07. Now we have just starting off here. This could have plenty of room to run. The green is over your red. This is looking very, very good, but you have that strong resistance right there. Strong resistance on the 21 day. As this opens up here in the futures, this 21 day will be a lot lower. But if you can get above that, then we can start riding all the way back up to that 50 SMA. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. All right, here we have gold. Now, I was telling you right here that we have this cup and we have this handle. Okay, the key is right there at the top of that is that 4250 level. Now, you can see yesterday we poked above it, but again, we had a topping tail situation, kind of like an indecision candle. You got to get above that 4250. That's going to be key. If we do, then we go to yesterday's high, that 42.99. Then we venture all the way up to here, 43.46, and then 43.98. You crack that, you're going to that 4,500. Okay, that's where she'll march up to. Okay, so to me, today I had no trade in the GLD today at all because I say we have this red candle, but we put in that lower low. Anytime I see that you break in that low situation and we end up with that red candle, I'm not interested. So I'm interested again on jumping in GLD if we can close back above that 42.50 mark, and then I can ride it up to that 42.99 and that 43.98 level. Okay, downside very, very easy. Watch that 8 day 41.73, 21 day 41.06. 50 day, 40.57, retest 35, and then right down here at 39.01. Okay, now never got to an overbought position. Was working it, and now she just came right off. The green is still over your red because we have a nice, good uptrending chart, and this cup and handle is still very, very much in play. Okay, but a lot of things just don't go straight up all the time. So just always remember that. But again, watch that 42.50. We start closing above that. Boom, we're going to end up at that 43.98. But you can't have a candle like this where it pops up and it sucks all those people in there and then it comes right down. It does nothing. That's not going to work. Okay, silver. Well, yesterday we had a really nice, good long. I dumped my SLV out here. I did not take a trade there today. There was a trade in there, though, okay, but because you got as low as 57.22 and a high at 59.09, but I just wasn't looking for that right now. Now you can see here, we have that price channel. Now we're back inside it, which is also good. So maybe you have some just sideways consolidation going on here right now. Now, for me, what I'm going to do is I'm looking at that 59.43 level. We close above that level. Boom. Then I'm in. I'm jumping right back in the SLV here, and we'll take it up to that 60, 61, 62, 65. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? You're kind of like a parabolic situation. Now, on the downside, you want to watch today's low. 57.22 level, kind of a situation, okay? Then we come down here at 56.85 level. That was yesterday's low. Then we just look for the top of that candle right there at that 54.41. And then we have your 8 day, 53.87, 21 day, 53.36, and then your 50 day at 49.51. But you can see respected, boom, held it right on up. 21 day, boom, held it, and then we had this nice run. Okay, but you got to know when to take money off the table. Okay, that's the key is, okay, say, okay, so if it ran higher, say it ran up to 60, who gives a shit? Okay, I got all the money in, all the way from bottom of this candle, all the way there with the SLV, money in the pocket. I can always buy on strength, okay? So there's two ways that you want to buy. You want to buy on support, okay? And you want to also buy on strength. So, okay, so once we crack above that 59.43, you say, oh, geez, I should have bought it down here. Yeah, you probably should have. However, if you didn't, it doesn't make any difference. Once you crack that, then she's going to know that she's going to go higher. But watch that RSI. You got to an overbought condition. It can stay that way, but again, just always kind of this, always put your eye on that. Same way with here. We got a nice, good green crossover. This looks like we're going to have a little sideways consolidation. Then I think we take out that 59.43 and we go higher. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude oil. All right, here we have crude oil. Now, again, a lot of stuff is based on like, Venezuela and all this kind of stuff, and they're cracking wise. So T-Man doesn't like that. So, that there's a lot of stuff there. They're trying to get a deal going here with Russia and Ukraine, get that over with here. So there's always a lot of. But again, you have a really, really big build right now in crude oil. Okay, so you got to really work that off because, they were really just pouring on the crude here, OPEC was. So now it's going to take time just to work that situation off again. Okay, so under normal conditions here, it didn't have all that circumstances like we had here with the war. I just think this is going to be right down here to that 55 level. But let's just see how this is going to shake out. We could have a year 2026 pretty much like a flat ski going on, but we see. Okay, now 50 day. Look at the strength. Look at the strength, look at the strength, look at the strength, respect it, okay? Could not get through. Today we have a red candle, and we're barely hanging on to that 8 day. So downside, 58.61, that's going to be support. Then we come right down here to the bottom of that candle, you're looking at 58.28, okay? So if we go to the left of the chart here, what do we have? 58.27. See this? 58.28, 58.27. Always look to the left of the chart. We start there, okay, on your support levels, and then we come down to your next level, okay, 57.66 level. Then we have your retest at 57.10, and we come down to 56.34, and then 55.96 level. Okay, so always look to the left of the chart because where it's been is usually where it's going. Okay, upside here, you can see the 21 days, everything. You got to get back above 59.39, and you got to attack that 50 day. You crack above the 50 day, it's easy. Look at the price channel, 61.50. Look at the 100 day right there, 62.40. Look at your 200 day, 63.91. Top of that candle, 65.40, and then all of a sudden, big retest at 66.42. Okay, but right now we have a downtrending situation. Okay, so that's what we want to do. So to me, today, when I seen this, boom, SCO. That's the trade for me. Okay, really, really good trade. I'm still long the SCO, and I'm going to see tonight when the futures open if it can hold this key 8 SMA. So what you're trading when those futures open is you're trading this candle, okay? 59.67 on the high side and 58.28 there on the downside. You're trading against that candle and you're watching that 8 day, okay? And you're watching that 21 day, okay? So that's how you're trading. We start losing that, then we're going to retest that 57.10, could retest that 55.96 level. Now, just sideways action. This is not overbought, oversold. Same way here, not overbought, oversold here. So basically, we have a downtrending situation, but the whole key to this thing on the upside is right there. Is that 50 day. The whole key to the downside, that's upside. Downside is right here, this 55.96. So right now, if you look at the price channel of 55.710, 61.50, we're pretty much trading right in the center of this range. Okay, we start losing that, then there's your target. Boom, there's your target. We crack above this, the 50 day, then we have that 61.50. You got your 100 day, and we have your 200 SMA. Okay, let's take a look here now at natural gas. All right, here we have natural gas. Okay, now you can see here we ran all the way up to that 4.98, pretty much a 5 flat. Okay, so what we're really looking for is we're looking all the way to the left of the chart here. We're looking for this bad boy right here. Okay, 490. That was the key. That was that high. Now you can see where it went above that. However, however, yesterday, when we have a close, you had a close of 4.89. Okay, that's the thing. See, you popped up, but we didn't close at the 490. So when I say 490, like we have here, okay, 490, you got to close above that in order to go to that next level, okay? See, so right there, all you got to do is look right up here, okay? Right there is your closing of 489. Today here so far, you got a closing of 485 level, okay? So on the upside, watch that 490. That's going to be very key. Then we come to yesterday's high, 495. Then we have 498, okay? That's where your upside is. Again, once we start cracking that, then all we have to do is just look right to the left of the chart here. Your next level is going to be right there. It's going to be that 536 level. Okay, if we can get above it, then we can venture all the way down to the bottom here. You're looking at that 572 level, and we can crack all the way up here to your 627 level. Okay, but again, you got to close above that 490 in order to go higher. You can't just pop and drop. That's not going to work. It's great for trading, but know when to get the hell out of this thing. Okay, so when you see that flat 5 mark coming right in your direction, okay, it's not going to work. Okay, it's like a head-on collision. You can see it coming. Okay, and unless it cracks through that, it's coming right back down again. Okay, so on the downside, you want to watch today's low 480. We'll come yesterday's low 475, and then we're going to go right to that 466 level, and then we have right down here at your 450 level. So right now, this could be a little sideways consolidation. We're venturing outside that price channel, and now looks like it just wants to come in. So always look at your weekly chart, but just look at that 490 level. See, when I say we'll look at the reaction is, the reaction was it popped, but it never closed above. Pop today, never closed above. So let's just see how this all going to shake out. Now, again, we are to an overbought here situation. It can last. There's no question about it. But let's just see how this is all going to shake out once we start getting the numbers here, like on Thursday. Okay, let's take a look here now at the indexes. All righty, Dow, S&P, and the old NASDAQ. Okay, working good. Okay, so we popped right on up here, came right down to the 100-day. Nothing's changed. Now we have the sideways consolidation. Okay, we start losing that, then we just look for the 21-day. Okay, right there. Next in line is the 8-day. Okay, the next in line is the 50-day. Just that simple. That's your downside. We lose that, you can come down and retest that 45, 896. That's your 100-day. Okay, just that simple. Upside, we got to get back above. Okay, 47, 750 level. Then we can attack this level. Okay, 48.40, and then we can attack that level. 48.431. But right now we just have a little sideways consolidation. We have a really good massive run here. Okay, S&P, well, pretty much the same thing. Came right on down, held that 100-day very, very nicely. Now we just have the sideways consolidation. So today made a nice high, 68.51 level. This is what you're looking at next right there, is at 68.69. Okay, right there, 68.69. And then we can look over here at that 68.82. Okay, but always look to the left first. Level to level, then you can hit 69.20. Right now, okay, on the downside, basically just watch the 21-day. 67.48, you watch that 8-day, okay, and then we have that 50-day. Okay, we lose that, you can come right back down to the 100-day. But look at this chart. See, you're above all simple moving average. Above all simple moving average. In this time frame, going into the end of the year, I wouldn't expect some kind of a big pullback unless something would happen, you know, politically or whatever like that. But right now, I just think you're going to go sideways to up kind of an action. Okay, so here we have the old NASDAQ. Same thing. Okay, so we have this nice green candle. This is my favorite. Now, my favorite trade, again, is TQQs. You're up at all 3% today. Not bad. Okay, so what we want to do, you look at that, that's 23,526. Next level is going to be right here. It's going to be 23,564. And then you want to look to the top of this candle, 23,644. There's your gap. That's going to be very important. And then look to the bottom of that candle, 23,764. Then we have your 24.19 retest. Okay, downside simple. 21-day, 23.56. 50-day, 22.968. And then 22.945 is your 8-day. Okay, we lose that, you got the 100-day sitting there right there on the old catch-all like it's done on all these charts. So right now here, sideways action. Okay, let's just see if we can get a little bit of rally going on here. Now, I'm not saying we're going to make new highs, okay, but, you know, we could rally in that direction. All right, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here tomorrow morning. We'll do it all over again. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.
Wow.